I'm here with Rebeccca Lisi, who is running for mayor in Holyoke in a very crowded field, but she's running nonetheless. Thank you very much for stopping by.
My pleasure.
Okay, so lots of stuff is happening in Holyoke right now. And I have to ask you, considering, I'm trying to be diplomatic here, considering some of the things that were left over in terms of challenges or projects from the Morse administration, you now have an interim mayor. How complicated is it going to be for the next mayor of Holyoke in terms of understanding what needs to be done from the past, what is being done in the interim, much less what the new mayor wants to do for his or herself? So what are your thoughts about the challenges that you have now? Because you're on the city council, so you're facing those challenges now, much less the challenges that you would face if you win the mayor's race.
Right. So thanks so much for that question. I think that we're very lucky in Holyoke that interim mayor Murphy has been very transparent in a lot of his decision making. So the city council has been very involved. In some ways, they have to be involved when it comes to appointments and things like that. The acting mayor cannot make appointments on his own. And then we're dealing with the ARPA funding, for example. I filed an order that requested that we ensure that this is a very public process. And so the allocation of those ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act funds, has been very transparent. I think we're still struggling with staffing issues, but these are all issues that, as a veteran city councilor of 14 years, I understand intimately. So for me, anyway, I believe that it would be a fairly seamless transition of getting in, taking the baton from acting Mayor Murphy and really making progress where he left off.
So municipalities are looking at ARPA money and trying to figure out what would be the best use for that money. And then we have the debate on the state level in terms of what the state is going to use and how that money is going to come down and be used. I just talked to Joe Wagner. He feels that that process is going to take several years. In other words, we're not going to spend all the money at once. In terms of Holyoke, what do you see would be the best use for these funds? And if you're elected mayor, you would obviously be dealing with the state funds coming down to municipalities that way. What do you think that we really should do with this money that would best either heal us from the economic chaos the pandemic met or prepare us for the future?
Right. It's another good question. Right now the city in acting Mayor Murphy's process has really been prioritizing things that are going to deal with housing insecurity. So cash payments for, through agencies, but cash payments for rent, ensuring that people have at least that housing stability as we transition from the housing moratorium, the rent moratorium, and moving forward, we need to make sure that we're investing in some job training. And then from there, childcare, I think, is going to become another big priority if we want to get people back into the workforce. Moving forward, especially sort of in the background we have at the federal level, the infrastructure bill. Holyoke is a really old city. We need to make sure that we are updating infrastructure, and then I would love to have money set aside to work with the vocational trades, either in the high school or through HCC, to make sure that we're training the next generation of technicians who can not only repair sewer, water, gas pipelines, but maintain them. And I think those are going to be an entire new sector of employment moving forward.
So a final question. One of Holyoke's biggest resources, besides the fact that it has clean electricity, which is a huge resource as a community, is the fact that you still have factory buildings that can be reused. I mean, City of Springfield, we lost a lot of those buildings through urban renewal in the 1960s. Holyoke did not, because at that time, of course, they were occupied. What kind of businesses do you want to bring in that you would try to bring in as mayor to create jobs, but also to create additional tax revenue for the city?
Right, I would point to cannabis. Cannabis has been really successful because it's light manufacturing. It's a perfect fit for the buildings. It's stabilizing the buildings. It's making use of the electricity and affordable water rates that we have in the city. And then it's also providing entry-level jobs that folks can get without a whole lot of advanced education and then work their way up the ladder. There's career opportunities attached to that. So I think we want to attract other businesses that are light manufacturing. Cannabis provides a nice model. So other indoor agricultural activities. I also think that Bitcoin farming could be a potential, or anything related to computing, because that is energy intensive. And to have the green energy that we do makes it not a really terrible carbon impact when you're doing really high intensity computing and tech activities. Precision machining. I just learned recently that we have a lot of really high-grade medical equipment being manufactured in Holyoke, and I would love to see a cluster develop around that. And then finally, it's really about getting the home-based entrepreneurs out of their homes and into brick and mortar buildings on High Street and Main Street. So really making sure that we are diversifying our employment portfolio.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming by. And I know my staff, we're looking forward to a 7-person mayoral race.
Yep.
It's sort of exciting, sort of overwhelming, but sort of exciting for us.
I'm very excited about the crowded field in a way, because I think we're actually talking about issues for the first time as opposed to pedigrees.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rebeccca, for
Thank you.
coming by.